Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to the Inspiration Podcast with Stan. Hey, I'm looking forward to today. If you want a shorter episode, this is your jam. This is your one right here. I don't think if you're looking for an episode where it's something about the time of a workout. Hopefully, we'll be able to fit this one in today. It's something that's really important to me though. It's called transformational identity. And, I work with a group every month out in Los Angeles, and I just finished going through a half day facilitation with them on transformational identity. So it's kind of fresh on my mind, but it's also something I do with every single client that I work with. See, I believe that we have the ability and the capacity to change our mindset. And it isn't a name it and claim it, but it's definitely a process. So if this is your jam, if you say, "Hey, you know what? I do wanna show up different," tune in today and, let's get this party started. Please grab yourself a virtual cup of coffee, keep your hands on the wheel if you're driving, but, take a listen and let's jump into today's episode of the Inspiration Podcast with Stan. Hey, I'm Stan Gibson, and this is the Inspiration Podcast. Each week, I'm here with stories, lessons, and conversations to help you live a richer, more intentional life, starting right where you are. Hey, let's get to it. Excited to talk today about transformational identity. And you say, oh my goodness, how deep are we going to go? Well, I'll tell you what, I firmly believe this changed my life. This changed my life several years ago when I was working with a coach that really took me down the avenue of helping me understand that I can show up differently and that all of the limiting beliefs, all the things that have been fed to me through a lifetime of individuals, not knowingly, not maliciously, but things that have either been fed to me, even from social media or whatever, I'm not this enough. That ability to go ahead and to transform that identity is a powerful, powerful tool. And so I use it with all my clients because when we get into a lot of conversations, we start talking about childhoods. We start talking about all of the different things that have led them up to who they are today. And when we do that, they start to talk about things that are basically false, things that there's no factual evidence whatsoever that would substantiate that this is their being, and that's a key word, being, B-E-I-N-G. It's who they've come to believe that they are through non-factual information fed to them throughout the years. So I'm out today I'm actually coming to you from Florida, actually. Nothing better than going out, getting your feet in the sand and coming back in and doing a podcast. So here on a few days of business and one of my favorite places to come, over on the Gulf side. So anyway, I obviously got a lot of energy just feeling the sand between my toes in the morning and being able to come in and do really cool stuff like this. But one of the things I do is, I work with a group out in California each month, and it's emerging leaders. I mean, these leaders, they're fantastic because I tell you what, they represent every generation possible. They represent, whether it be Zs, millennials, Xs. I bring up, of course, the baby boomer side, but anyway, it's just a fantastic mix of individuals. And we spent a whole half a day about a month ago just going through this transformational identity. So I'm not going to go through the whole 4 hours, obviously, but I'm going to try to give you just enough information to where hopefully it piques your interest. And I'm going to give you a couple of documents in the show notes on transformational identity, how to do it, and kind of a little bit of a template of how to do it. So I think you'll enjoy that. And this is going to fit right in with another thing that I'm doing, which is a mastermind that I have that I'm looking and working right now to fill it with the right chemistry of entrepreneurs and executives. And we talk about things like transformation. We talk about well-being. We talk about productivity. We talk about leaving a legacy. And if you're interested in this, please go to leadwithstan.com, leadwithstan.com. And we'll just talk about it. If it's a fit, it's a fit. If it's not, it's not. But these are the kind of things that I really enjoy talking about. So let's kick this off. And I want to tell you a little bit about, this. So this class that we started, we kicked off and we started talking first about marginal gain or 1% incremental growth each and every day. And that is so important to understand that whatever I tell you, I don't believe in name it and claim it. I don't believe in saying, I am fill in the blank and it automatically happens. There is work to be done. There is incremental growth to be done. This could take 3 weeks. This could take 3 years. It just depends. It's often been said that you can, in fact, on my last episode, we talked about habits. And we talked about the fact that, somebody said at one point in time that you could change a habit in 21 days. Well, you can't tell somebody who's got an addiction that they can change that addiction in 21 days. It could be anywhere from, a few weeks to a few years. They say the average is 68 days. It's a very interesting concept of just incremental growth, just 1% each day. And the example that I gave them was a really cool example by the British cycling team. And David Brailsford became the coach for the British cycling team. He adopted a mess. I've got a YouTube on this. In fact, I'll try to put that in the show notes too, because it's really interesting. But he adopted a mess. In fact, they had not won anything since I think the late 1800s. I mean, they go back over 100 years without any success. The British cycling team. When he did this, he understood that there was going to have to be marginal gains, and to kind of not bury the headlines, they immediately became, I think they won the Tour de France. They won all the world events. They won not like just 1 year, 2 years. I mean, they won like 3 years in a row. They're like the dominant force right now in cycling. They were so bad that bicycle brands wouldn't even give them a bike because they didn't want their name associated with them. So he had to start from scratch. I mean, he did everything from teaching them how to wash their hands, how to make them more aerodynamic with shorts, with heated shorts, that would keep their muscles loose, taking their pillows with them on the road so that they had the same pillow, they had the same bedding. Their trucks where they transferred their bikes had white floors so they could detect dust. There's a saying, how you do anything is how you do everything. How you do anything is how you do everything. And that's pretty much what David Brailsford did. And it's a fascinating story about how incremental growth or 1% marginal growth each day accumulates to a full transformation over time. And so that's what we're talking about, is we're talking about transformational growth, transformational identity. Maslow said, what one can become, one must become. What one can become, one must become. And that's very, very true. And so we have almost an obligation while we're on planet Earth to become the best version of us. And again, we've been fed a lot of information from the time we were infants to our adult life that we have chosen to accept and believe as truth, when in fact, it's just sitting there in the limbic system of the brain, which is the part where the amygdala lies, which is, fight, flight, and fear. And so we start to have these limiting beliefs, and we start to make them truths. And so that's where we started talking with the class. And I talk with my clients about, there is the ability to change. And what's great is our brain has what's called neuroplasticity. And, your brain is always rewiring itself. Sometimes we have the myth that when we get older, we start to forget more, which we probably do, but it's because we're not using it. Our brain actually has the ability to expand into our 60s, 70s, 80s. We never need to have the excuse that we can't think greater and smarter because we have what's called neuroplasticity. It's the ability to take the neural pathways and create more highways to go down. And our brain has the ability to do that. And so we talk a lot about the neuroplasticity, the ability to create, just new neural pathways. Then we started to talk about another large term, which is the reticular activating system. And the reticular activating system is really a filter. It's a filter in your brain, and especially in the limbic system, which You get to choose what to believe and not what to believe. You have a choice. It's a filter. And unfortunately, we take 99% of what we hear and we don't filter it. We just allow it to go into all kinds of limiting beliefs. So we talked about the reticular activating system. You see, the reason I go into the brain is because I want people to understand God gave us a human body and a brain in which to make changes and to have choices. And once we understand it's more than just magically happening, no, we were given systems. We were given a brain in which we have a neural pathway to change. And we can use the reticular activating system to choose what to believe and move it into the conscious part of the brain or the prefrontal cortex, where now we start to focus on it. Some of you have heard of the reticular activating system, and when you did, you probably heard the example. Did you ever think about a car that you want? For me, it seemed like it was a few months ago, but I was thinking, hey, wouldn't it be cool to have a white Bronco? A white Bronco. And about 30 minutes later, I need to go to the grocery store, and I pull out, what do you think I see? Right there's a white Bronco. And boy, go about 2 or 3 more miles, there's another white Bronco. They're all over. I just would not have noticed them had I not put it in and filtered and said, this is what I'm thinking about. So when we can take the positive things, the way we want to show up, the version that we want to be, and put it into the prefrontal cortex and make it a new being, a new identity, and then it's more important than just putting it there. That is just the first step. The second step is creating the work, the evidence stacking to make it happen over time. And we'll talk more about that as we go on. So there is a really a great process here of creating this identity, letting this reticular activating system, this filter, prove up what it is you want, how you want to show up, letting the neural pathways go ahead and create the new avenue for this to happen, and then creating experiences to where it's just evidence stacking. And it will happen over time. I probably take it a little bit even further than probably, what I've researched and most of the science that I've read. And I actually go into artificial intelligence. I jot down certain either scriptures or quotes that will reinforce this new belief or this new identity. And so I want to see the identity that I'm creating. I want to start to identify the work or the action that I'm going to do to create the new evidence to believe in. And I'm going to have some either scripture or I'm going to have some quotes in which can go ahead and reinforce. And I'm going to do this on a daily basis. I'm going to do this in the morning. I'm going to do this in the evening. I'm going to look at this, and this is going to become just a part of my moral thread of every fiber of my brain, my body, to where I start to believe it, see it, do the work, and start to take on a new identity. Another way of doing this too is something that, we call the alter ego. And it was funny for this class. If you go into one of my past, I think it was episode 12, I had a guest, great guest, Cam F. Awesome. And when we talk about alter ego, the reason I had Cam show up for this class was because Cam is called the greatest boxer to never go pro. He was taken off of the 2012 Olympics, and it was false. He was out of the country fighting, and since he didn't turn his paperwork in, they said he was doping, which he wasn't. But anyway, he came up with his name, Cam F. Awesome, actually towards the end of high school. And he did it because he had a kind of a bad childhood, or at least one where he got beat up by a girl. And of course, classmates never let you forget it. And as his family moved, he got to create a new identity. And he's let that identity become a new person. And in fact, now he speaks on stage all over the country. And if you want to check this episode out, please go back and check it out, because Cam's just an awesome person. But his mental fortitude, his ability to change his mindset is it's just unbelievable. He's just really somebody who's very unique. And he played right into, I think, this whole episode of transformational identity. So I talk a lot about this alter ego. In fact, when I get up on stage, I have an alter ego. I mean, I literally transform. I know who I want to become. There are certain speakers that are very engaging, animated, and that's me. That is absolutely me. I love it. That's how I choose to show up. And again, it's this alter ego. And there's a great book called The Alter Ego Effect by Todd Herman, and that's Todd Herman, Herman. And that's probably one of the better books on how the alter ego works. But again, that's a part of transformational identity that I think you would enjoy. So I would suggest looking into some of the uh, documents that I'm going to put in the show notes. I think it will start to give you some type of an impact of, okay, so this is how it works. And again, I think it's something that I would love to talk to you more about because it's really takes a lot of work getting inside of your limiting beliefs. Because once I can get inside and see what your limiting beliefs are, and we can start to identify them, put a name on them, then we can pivot. Then we can start to turn that around. Then we can start to say, no, no. We start with phrases like, I am a person who, or I am the type of person who, or I embrace. But it's a place you come from, not a place you get to. It's not I'm going to be. It's not that's code for never basically is someday. No, you start to take on the mentality of I am. I am. I embrace health. I am health. I come up, I have a lot of affirmations like this, and they're all based around mind, body, and soul. I have certain ones that I have retrenched through neuroplasticity, through the reticular activating system. I have really transformed my mindset. I have really transformed my body and my mindset about how I take care of myself, my faith, my career. I no longer have a lot of those limiting beliefs that I've always had. And again, it's taken work and it is a journey. It's still 1% incremental growth. I'm still in this journey. But once we start to understand more about these limiting beliefs, the more we can start to flip the script and we can start to create this identity of being, of transformation, of the ability to start to evidence stack, 1% incremental growth. I not only look at this stuff in the morning and in the evening, I also put it on my voice memo and record it so I can listen to it. I can listen to it in my mind. And again, it's a form of meditation. It's a form of visualization. But this is the work that it takes. It isn't a name it and claim it. This is the work that it takes. One of the better books that, again, it's always been my go-to. I probably have mentioned it on multiple other podcasts, but it's Psycho-Cybernetics, by Maxwell Maltz. And the reason I always mention this book is because it's about 67 years old and it's just as relevant today as it was then. And what Dr. Maxwell Maltz did was he was a plastic surgeon. And so while he took care of a lot of people that came in with, wanting some part of their body, whether it was their nose or whether it was their, some part of their anatomy that they wanted changed, he found out that literally within months, they went right back to being the same person they were. The outside was not changing the inside. So he had to change. He figured out that I need to change people from the inside. And that is sustainable. The inside is sustainable. The exterior is not. And so this book, Psycho-Cybernetics, it's called Psycho-Cybernetics. And I tell you what, my wife and I have kept this on audiobooks. Just whenever, it doesn't matter what chapter you're on. It just seems like there's always something different, whether it be visualization, whether it be just talking about just all the ways that the mind works. So it's always applicable no matter where you are in the book. So we've always got it on if we get it in the car or whatever. But again, some of the keys. He talks about self-image is the key to behavior. The mind is a goal-striving mechanism. It's called servo mechanism, quite honestly. When your mind is fixed on a very specific goal, it will get there. It's like a heat-seeking missile. It'll go off course. but it will always come back on as long as you keep that eye on that specific goal. He goes on to talk about you are not your past. You are not your past. You have to get past your past. He talks about visualization and mental rehearsal. The fact that success is built on relaxation and not struggle. Yeah, success is built on relaxation, not struggle. See, less is more. Overcoming failure and negative feedback. How do we deal with that? And failure is just feedback. Failure is just feedback. And then happiness and forgiveness is a habit. Oh my gosh, you change a mindset with happiness and forgiveness. In today's world, I can't express that strong enough and hard enough. Happiness and forgiveness is a habit. And the fact that you can change. Yes, you can change. And so these were a lot of the principles that we talked about in this class. Again, the being statements, present tense, I am, I embrace, I am the type of person who, daily visualization, again, this servo mechanism that you just have this goal. And I have worked with clients to where I have asked them to see 2 to 3 years ahead and paint it with such vivid detail, all the way to the color of the house, the shutters, where they want it to be. But again, it takes the work behind it to do it. And we have to know where we're going. And then we have to aim the coordinates and we will get there. We will get there, but it's incremental. It's incremental. So again, a lot of it is daily visualization. I use voice memos. And again, I just realized that some habits might be able to be changed in a few weeks, some a few years. So I have to stick with some and just not lose my focus. This is what's called transformational identity. And again, I'll put a few documents in the show notes that I think you'll like. And again, if you like this, I think that you would really enjoy, again, just going to leadwithstan.com, leadwithstan.com, because I just want to get to know you. And, I'll get you free information. I will get you free information, free tools. If you go to leadwithstan.com, you don't have to do anything else. Just once we get your email address, put you on a newsletter that I know you're going to love, and you don't have to do anything else. We'll get you free tools, and I think you'll love it. So anyway, that's today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, there's a lot that goes into it, and it's something that I work with every single client on. I literally just work with every single client, and it's just a component of the process that we use. But once you have better self-awareness and you choose how you want to show up, all of a sudden, the magic starts. The magic starts. So thank you for being with me today. I really hope that you enjoyed this and want to know more about it. Check out the show notes. And you know what? May you all live a rich and intentional life. Take care and have a great week. Hey, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the Inspiration Podcast with Stan today. We talked about transformational identity and again, I'm passionate about this, very passionate. And in fact, as I mentioned during the episode, we're putting together a masterclass, a mastermind. We're putting together a very unique set of leaders, entrepreneurs, executives, and possibly that's you. We're going to talk a little bit about it just a second here, but this, if you're interested, again, leadwithstan.com, leadwithstan.com. No obligation whatsoever other than to just learn more and say, hey, this might be something that I've been looking for. Because I will guarantee you that when you're in this mastermind, there are 14 other people that have the same limiting beliefs. They have the same amount of different experiences of handling things. They have a lot of the same challenges of, just this decision fatigue, this ability to maintain balance, this ability to scale a company and to scale the leadership within the company, thinking about succession planning and what's worked, what hasn't worked, what's happening from a communication perspective in your company, what's working, what's not working. There's one individual that will be a part of this that I know that for a very large firm, they don't even have a human resource department. Now, I'm not against human resource departments, but it just speaks to the volume of the culture that they have. And that's what I want you to learn. I want you to be surrounded by like-minded people that just build and expand. And it's just this power of people at the table. And again, if you think this is you, if you really want to learn how to lead with clarity, lead with confidence, lead with intention, go to leadwithstan.com, leadwithstan.com, and let's just talk. And I've always told people, if this isn't your jam, but you're looking for something, I can almost always send you to the right resource. It's one of my gifts is connecting dots and connecting people, and that I can always guarantee you. But I hope you liked today's episode. I hope you liked learning more about neuroplasticity, the fact that we have a reticular activating system, the fact that we can identify our limiting beliefs, and how we can go about showing up different, and not just for a few days, for a lifetime. We don't have to be who people told us. We can make that change. We can choose that change. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. We've got some great ones coming up. And I think you're going to enjoy them immensely. Just leaders in every area, whether it be athletics, whether it be the workforce, whether it be people that are building on revenues, helping people build a revenue in company. It's just, we have some very eclectic guests, and I've been blessed to either know these people or have them seek me out, and you're going to like it. I'll guarantee you're going to like it. So stay tuned. Thank you for joining the Inspiration Podcast with Stan. May you all live a rich and intentional life. Take care and have a great week. Well, that's it for today, my friends. I hope this conversation sparked something meaningful for you. If it did, share it with someone who could use a little inspiration too. You can find more tools, stories, and coaching to support your journey at stangibsonspeaks.com. Talk next time, and until then, may you live with purpose and lead with heart.